and watching games. This game is terrible. I don't know how long I'm going to be on this game. This is a really bad game. This is Washington and Philly. Who is that? That's Jalen Martin. Wow. From Overtime Elite a couple years ago. Lonnie Walker, the fourth, is on the Sixers. It's been a weird year for both of these teams. I can at least talk about that until I switch in a couple seconds. But yeah, I mean, the Wizards, they're expected to be bad, but they've missed a lot of guys. I mean, Sadiq Bey didn't play the entire season. He's still out recovering, I think, from the ACL tear the year before. Malcolm Brogdon's been in and out of the lineup, as a vet. They traded for Chris Middleton, traded Kuzma, which they had to. It made sense to trade Kuzma, especially with the top wings in the draft this year. With if they luck on Cooper Flag or get Ace Bailey or somebody like that, even VJ Edgecombe, you kind of want to clear that space. They did great this year with the draft, though. I will give the Wizards that. They did better than a lot of teams. Like, I think the Wizards nailed their draft, all the selections. It's rare you have three guys. I mean, there's a majority of the year where you see all three of those dudes start. I think even tonight. It's Bub Carrington on a pitch. He's been super underrated rookie. I did a highlight mix of him early on in the year, and I didn't watch him at Pitt, so I didn't know how good he was. And I didn't watch any of his tape leading up to the draft or something. I don't know why, but it just wasn't on my radar. I'd heard the name, but that was about it. But he's really solid at the point guard spot, man. He's somebody who's like he kind of projects more like an all-around type of point guard, but I think his potential is pretty big because he's getting a lot more comfortable just shooting and pulling up this year. Throughout the course of the year, pulling up and shooting threes. Um, but yeah, him, Keyshawn George out of Miami, another guy I didn't really see too much in college last year. He's been great as he become a 3 and D guy already right now. And he develops some more offense at that size. Like he's a huge forward. I think he's like 6'9" or something. Um, Smooth shooter. His percentage is gonna raise like once he's like gets that second year. So I would expect year two, year three, he'll probably be shooting somewhere like 38%. On pretty decent volume, which is a lot of threes. He does need to mix it up a lot more, but really good defensively too. Like really good. Same with Sar. Obviously, like Sar's probably gonna finish for me number two in the Rookie of the Year race. I mean, it's got to be a good race. I mean, his fellow Frenchman Zachary Ricochet, the Hawks. He's been pretty solid all year, but it's Stephon Castle's award to lose. Like he's gonna win the award. He's cinched in the last clinched. He clinched in the last couple of weeks. Um, and obviously with De'Aaron Fox and Wemby out, and he's their best player. It's funny because I was thinking about it the other day. Like you have no Wemby, obviously, and then you're like, okay, De'Aaron Fox is former All Star. Like even though he's there, obviously Wemby's still the best player. That's neither here nor there. That's not even the point. But he's clearly okay. This is the number two guy. Then he goes down, and I'm like, well, who's their best player now? I thought it was Devin Vassell. I'm a big Devin Vassell fan. I'm like, I believe in Devin Vassell more than most people. I think he has the tools. At least early on, he was showing more on the defensive end. I think that's kind of dropped off a bit. I don't know. It's weird because I like a lot of their players, but I think there's a way they should be developing better, or maybe a little further along at this point. Like Vassell, I feel like he's kind of maintained a little bit too much this year with having the weapons around you. Like, granted, obviously Castle wasn't there the whole season, and Vassell actually came back to, if I remember correctly, he started the season with an injury, so Vassell wasn't even in the lineup in the beginning. He had to come back and play the three. It's kind of what messed up Jeremy Sohan, because I think that lineup that they had in the beginning of the year, if they kept that same lineup, they would have been. You look at the playing race, like the Blazers were in it until yesterday, like a couple of days ago, and they had a stretch where they played really well and winning a lot, but people remember they started losing right after that. Like, they were remotely consistent. That's nothing to do with like how they play because they've overachieved crazy, but if they're remotely consistent over the last 2 months, they would legit be a play-in team right now with how Mavericks are killed by injuries. And so you see the Suns just like ineptitude. You can say nagging injuries now, but they've just been bad and mediocre all year. But to go back to the other team, it's just I don't know. I think that West play-in race could have like been a lot more interesting if the Spurs, like I said, they played Champagny. They had him as a starting small forward with Castle, Chris Paul. I think it was Sohan and Wemby to start the year, but then Vassell came back. Castle went to the bench. Castle's had a weird year of coming off the bench, and then they got Fox for a stretch, so he couldn't start because he still had CP. Then they went with Castle and Fox because they were trying to make the play-in that Wemby goes down. They've had a weird year. Like they've had a really strange year. Obviously, with the health scare with Greg Popovich and him not being there the entire season to coach. Like, it's been a weird year for San Antonio, and weirdly enough, I think it's going to help set them up for the future on the from a basketball standpoint in terms of roster construction. Just because they're going to get a higher draft pick this year than they would have anticipated if they stayed in that play-in pace. Like they're now in the running with a bunch of other teams, and I keep saying this because if Flag is as generational as everybody says him to be, and I think he's going to be incredible. I'm a big fan of his game. If he is as good as advertised right now and able to come into the league, and we're talking about either be, I'm not even gonna say number one option, but you go to a team like the Wizards, and Alex Sarr was number two pick last year behind Ricochet, and he is legit their number. I would behind Poole really, but like the way they've played and the success they've had in the games and the big games he's had, you can say he's the number one option now. Like there's a there's not too much of a difference in some of these bad teams, but because of how the lottery is structured and because of how certain teams are right now, like you can make a case that this dude can go to either a team where like he has an established all-star. Like he can go to a team with LaMelo Ball next year. Like granted, LaMelo needs to play basketball and hopefully stay away from the injured list. He's always hurt for some reason. And there's no knock. I'm a huge LaMelo fan. I just want to see him have a healthy year. He hasn't had a healthy year since really the rookie year. I think that was the healthiest year he's had in the league. But basically, if he get drafted by a team like that or the Pelicans, you have Zion, you have even in a weird way the Jazz with marketing because like yes, he's an all-star, but he's not like a perennial all-star in my opinion. Like he's an all-star level talent, but like he could go into a 1-2 punch situation, or he could go to like the Rockets. But like this is going to sound absolutely ridiculous, but looking at them as number 2 seed in the West, you would even question like, is he going to start on a team like that? And I know that sounds literally insane, right? Like you would figure something out with Brooks or whoever, but he has such variability for a generational guy that I've seen and probably ever. You know what I mean? Like you had the Spurs, like their best player was Keldon Johnson before they got Wemby. Okay, that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like that's the Cavs with LeBron. I'm trying to think. It was like Ricky Davis, the Pelicans with AD. I have no idea. It's not like he was coming into a super team though. I mean, it was him and Austin Rivers. They were decent coming in. Like, but I gotta check that. I gotta revisit that. But I don't think so. I'm trying to give you recent history. With, the Pelicans and Zion. Did Zion come in? I don't think they had. I don't remember that one, but I don't think he came in a great situation or a situation like that. But anyway, if he doesn't go to like a Wizards or look at the mock draft right now. Jazz number 1, Wizards number 2. Team we're watching. You got the Hornets with Ace Bailey number 3. I'm looking at mock draft literally. Hornets have LaMelo. The Sixers, you know what I mean? Like they go to the Sixers potentially, and that has a team with, there's no way you're the best player or even second best from the bat just because of Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey. So it's just, I don't know. I think it's really, really interesting, and I think that Flag's variability is going to change a lot how the league is going to look pretty soon because if he does go to one of these teams that quote unquote might not need him, he's going to create a ripple effect where like this is the only person I know it's old example probably. The only person I can think of that was probably entering this good and had like this type of effect, and you know they're going to be that crazy, and could go to a team that either was in the title picture or whatever. The only comparison I can think of is Charles Barkley when he got drafted by the Sixers, and I don't think. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think he wasn't viewed as a generational talent. Like no one knew how great he was going to become. He became great. Like this is a different story where like he could be drafted to the Rockets this year. Like it's possible. Cooper Flag could be a Rocket in a couple months. And it's like if the Rockets make the Western Conference Finals and get Cooper Flag, and he's a just say they don't start him. Like who knows? I doubt that will happen. Just like how Amin Thompson forced his way into the starting five, but you're going to figure that out somehow, some way. Maybe even trade somebody. I don't know, but I'm just saying it's possible. Or even adding him with Wemby. Like it's just the variability to where he wants to go or where he could go end up is large. And then let alone like diehard Bulls fan. If he does, the biggest market for him in the lottery is Chicago. That would be such an enormous W for the league for him to go to Chicago. And this isn't. I know this is me. You see, I got all the Bulls gear on right now, all of it. But the reason why I say that is because to get a home, to get a team like Chicago or fan base like Chicago back on the board, we've only seen a couple times in history where it's happened, and this is just straight up fact. They've gotten lucky twice, and they gotten lucky big. Like the Bulls, they're like the gambler who might lose every parlay and play every day, but just hit something ridiculous one day. Like hit something they've never hit before. Other teams don't. That's how the Bulls have been with Michael Jordan. Obviously, his other two teams passed on him, but they took him. Ended up becoming what he became, best ever. And Derrick Rose, but they had a literal 1.7% chance to get him in the draft. Like, hometown superstar, but you can't take credit for these wins. Like you got lucky that this bounced your way. Like there's no other way. Once again, I don't see with the current regime for the Bulls like how they can right that wrong. They don't historically get free agents. They get no free agents. There are no big name free agents that have come to Chicago and their history. You look it up. Like it's the biggest name is when DeRozan in the signing trade, obviously with Lonzo and Caruso that same free agency year. Carlos Boozer, Ben Wallace. There's not a ton of names you can point to where they signed this guy and they turn around the franchise. Like the Bulls could be stuck for years if they, not to say not, they have to get a Cooper Flag, but if they don't get help in the lottery or like bank on that guy that can turn the franchise around. I think Buzelis was perfect, perfect pick. I mean, but I think somebody like that also to go along and maybe even a level above that right now. Who knows? I think that's somebody who I think that's something that could really work. Basically, I think that's something that could really work for the big, and that's the biggest market you know in the lottery. So it's funny because it's always been the Bulls and the Knicks to me. Who's gonna get their title, their next title quicker? I mean, because the Knicks, it's been 43 years now. 1972 was last year. It's a long time. I think it's even longer than that. Yeah. Yeah, the Knicks, and then obviously the Bulls '98. So these are huge, huge markets. And other we've seen it even in baseball, where the Yankees and the Mets and all this. Obviously not the Mets, but the Yankees and the Cubs, even LA Dodgers. These enormous markets having the payroll or whatever prestige and that to, um, to get back to the top as a title contender. But it doesn't happen in basketball if you don't build your team the right way. You can't just buy your way. There's a salary cap that prohibits that. So you have to get lucky in the lottery. I mean, you do, but this is why the preemptive strike is to rebuild or to trade your assets, and that's what the Bulls should have done again this season. But GMs are on a clock too. I mean, they are. It's just weird to me that they kind of it's like they've accepted that they whiffed on the first rebuild. Um, with pairing Vucevic with Zach, I think that was a weird pairing to begin with. And then you add DeRozan, which incredible player, like fellow USC Trojan. I'm like, you know, DeRozan's one of the top scorers of this generation by far. But the natural fit with them two, without a point guard after Lonzo went down, like with those three actually, it just wasn't there, and the chemistry was never there, even though there were never any problems for real. So they wasted a couple years with that regime, and this is no knock on the players. You know what I mean? Like they did what they could. Um, with the roster construction, it was a strange roster. That happens a lot in sports, where like you get talented players, you get them at the wrong times, but they also just might not mesh together or just have enough. And the Bulls didn't really they weren't aggressive. It's weird because I feel like it's not going to happen too much anymore, just because of we see the Luka trade and all this other crazy stuff that happens. But unless these GMs just really bad or just don't get the okay from the owner or just a completely different timeline, I think we're going to see more shocker trades or shock value trades just because their job is on the line more now. Like we see all these teams. That was a good shot by Ricky Council Jr. or the fourth. But yeah, I think yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens to the Bulls. We'll see what happens to a lot of these teams. I was on the Wizards. I was on Cooper Flag. I didn't say anything about this game yet. Um, it's 30-27 in the second quarter. Ricky Council the fourth has the ball. He's going against AJ Johnson. Kick out to the corner. Nobody home. Out of bounds. But this isn't a game to watch. That's why I went on you know, that whole rant about the Bulls and Cooper Flag. And of course, I went on the Bulls, but I think he's gonna have a chance to really. It's gonna be so interesting to see where he ends up because you don't really say that about number one pick because the lottery is bigger than the draft in a way. It's not because where Cooper Flag is going, and then the consensus kind of is Dylan Harper, Ace Bailey, but who knows with workouts if anybody can crack the top five. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting, but the lottery is gonna be that's must see TV this year. That's like even more so than a Wemby type of year because I'm trying to think if it was that volatile of these teams here. Like for instance, the Sixers shouldn't be this bad. Like I keep trying to say this, but if the Sixers had the number one pick in a year like the Wemby year, they would have had to take him. You know what I'm saying? Like a team with a star at forward would take him. They have to. I mean, obviously he can play either one or whatever position, but even if your best player plays the same position, you have to take him. Like it's a no-brainer pick. Like it's so whatever team he goes to, he could either be their franchise star from the beginning, like at Brooklyn, like that would be obviously huge for that market. I mean, since Chicago's the biggest market, like obviously Brooklyn would be that's bigger. Like being in New York, and for that franchise, they've had a weird history because they were competitive, like super competitive in the beginning, and then fell off crazy. Not really. They had like two weird contender type of eras in Brooklyn. Like obviously they had the one with the older guys with end up with Darren Williams and Paul Pierce and KG, and like that era, like they fell short. No one really. We thought maybe in the beginning of the season that could be a case where they could be a contender. They didn't really live up to expectations. That didn't work. That was fine. They fell off for a few years. They had the D'Angelo Russell, Karis LeVert Nets, and then you had Jared Allen, obviously. They traded those guys periodically. And then they had the KD, James Harden Nets, Kyrie Irving. Like they've had a weird history. Like you just think about their team. Like, but the weird part is they get Cooper Flag. He has a chance to erase that. Like instantly because they haven't gotten that close. Like they should have won. They should have beaten the Bucks. I think that was around two um, in 2021. They should have beaten the Bucks in the semifinals with the KD shot and all that. They should have beaten the Bucks then. They could have won 2021. They definitely could have won the title. I'm not going to discount that. They were really good in the bubble. I mean, that bubble year too. They were they were really good. Like they were solid. I forgot what happened to them in the playoffs. Don't remember. But they were solid 2020 and 2021, and then they start trading everybody, the big three, trade everybody. Like I said, if he goes to the Brooklyn Nets, that'd be a huge get for them. That'd be enormous. Let's see what else is on. There's got to be some other games on there. Yeah, there have to be. Raptors, Hornets, Lakers. Oh wait, is this Oh, this is ESPN. This is happening right now. Wow, I'm missing the Lakers Mavs game for this. Sorry, we'll watch some like Hornets Magic or Hornets Raptors. I don't know about that one. That's that's kind of crazy. I'll watch it. I'll watch the Hornets Raptors. Yeah, this game is completely irrelevant to anything. We can watch for a little bit. The Hornets are missing Lamelo. Obviously, they're headed towards the lottery. It's a showcase for a lot of the young guys and guys into the bench that are, quite frankly, auditioning for next year. For being honest, happens a lot. Obviously, towards the end of the year for lottery teams or teams like this that are evaluating guys because this is the time to win a spot. You saw the other day with Brandon Williams. He's a former two-way guy with the Blazers a couple years ago, but he went to the uh, he signed with the Mavs this year, I think, on a two-way deal, and ended up getting converted to a standard contract. I think yesterday. So it's the time. I mean, for all these dudes, you look at the Hornets right now. I'm gonna start with them. It was a shame what happened yesterday. Like obviously with KJ Simpson, Jalen Wells getting hurt. That was messed up. But obviously it didn't look intentional. It looked like he was trying to do that, obviously. But it sucks. It's glad to see him back out, obviously playing. Hopefully Jalen Wells gets back on the court pretty soon. Um, but KJ Simpson is a perfect example. He was a second round guy this year. He's played a lot now because they traded Vasimicic to the Hornets. And, Trey Mann's been out with a back injury basically the entire year. Then LaMelo goes down and he finds himself starting we're talking about a month and a half of the season, basically. Like, KJ Simpson's been there. I don't think that long, probably the last month or so. But KJ Simpson's going to end up accruing that type of time on the court. Um, and that's good because he was more of an NBA ready guy, I thought, last year anyway, at Colorado. I actually did see a couple of his games, and he's somebody who he's a just has command at the point guard position. He's not shy shooting the ball either. He's a very aggressive scorer, and you kind of need that. He can set up guys, and it's pretty decent. And he's been taking advantage of these starting opportunities, getting some decent numbers, and somebody who can compete for a backup job next year behind LaMelo. Because I say this every year at the Hornets. They're a team that I want to believe in. They're a team that I want to say they're going to make a play-in run or whatever you want to call it. I don't think I'm as confident to say like they would have a Detroit type of turnaround next year unless they do get up a Cooper Flag or. But who knows though? We didn't see them at all. That was just kind of a similar thing with Detroit the year prior. I mean, Cade got hurt early. I think it was like 25 games in the season. He didn't play. Now I think it was a lot to do with coaching, a lot to do with adding Tim Hardaway Jr., Malik Beasley, players like that, and that wasn't the only reason. I mean, Asar Thompson ended up having the blood clot situation, so I think he was out as well towards last year. So I think the Hornets can be really good next year, and not really good, but they can be in that 7 to 10 range easily next year, easily. The play-in is a joke anyway. So what does that mean to be the 10th best team in the conference, 15th team in the conference? But they can easily make the playoffs, I think, which is that 7-8 range. Like obviously tournament to tournament, they could do whatever, but they could at least have like a much better record, like as a 7th seed than like a 10 seed next year. If LaMelo plays, I'm just saying the threshold, 65 games. I want to say 70, but I mean he hasn't played 70. Let me look at his basketball record. I'm pretty sure LaMelo hasn't played 70 games in a season since he was a rookie. But say LaMelo plays 70 games out of an 82 game season. He played 47 this year. No, rookie, he was 51 games. The All Star year is what I'm thinking of. He played 75 games, the All Star years. Year two. Year three, 36. Year four, 22 games. Year five, 47 games. Like, this dude is a great player. I think he's really, really good. I really do. I really love his instincts on the court. I think with more talent and less and he's maturing as a player. I know people look at the highlights and think he's not, but like give him more of a situation and they're better. And Brandon Miller doesn't have a broken wrist and he's playing like this team healthy. Like you're missing everybody. Like, and I don't even think they need to trademark one at this point, unless you can replace him in the draft, which I don't think there's a guy like that, a center or like you can't make that gamble and not have a 5 next year. I like Diabate, but I don't know if you can make that gamble next year. Like unless you want I'm looking at the center spots like Malawatch, they'd have to fall in the draft or like really like a guy. And I think it's really set up for the Hornets to do something smart. I know that sounds crazy, but like I'm simming the lottery right now. They're third best odds. You know what I mean? So it's 1, 2, 3. Obviously, Cooper Flag, you take him. That's a no-brainer. Dylan Harper. If you are on the Hornets, you take Dylan Harper in a heartbeat. You take him. You pair him with LaMelo. You figure everything else out. Like that's just straight up. And you have insurance if LaMelo gets hurt. I think they can play together just the way Harper's game is set up. I think he'd make a lot of things very easy for him. Same with Ace Bailey. You play Ace Bailey with Brandon Miller. You draft both of them. You consider VJ Edgecombe, Trey Johnson's of the world. Like they can really use these jumbo players that are from in the 6'6", 6'5" to 6'10" range that are going to be in the top five pick. They get a top five pick. Like I said, it's Cooper Flag who's 6'9", Dylan Harper 6'6", Ace Bailey 6'10", VJ Edgecombe 6'5", Trey Johnson 6'6". They add a guy like that to that lineup. You already have LaMelo. Let's not forget you have Brandon Miller coming back, huge wing himself, 6'8" guy. You have Miles Bridges still there, 6'6". Power forward. You have you add one of these dudes. You have Mark Williams. You have Grant Williams still off the bench. You have Trey Mann. There's a few guys on this team that make the roster a bit redeemable going into next year. You add a couple pieces. Like this is a decent team. Like that's a solid rotation. You still got Josh Green for defense. You got a couple guys. Simpson, like I said. I think Kogi's on a contract. I don't know about Seth Curry if he's a free agent or not. To John Salon, hopefully he gets better. He's already a decent rebounder. That's his best skill. Um, yeah, look at Taj, man. Congratulations to Taj Gibson for playing 1,000 games. Let's get off the Hornets talking about their team. But, man, Taj Gibson is one of my favorite players of all time. He went to USC alum. Bulls, obviously. Yeah, he's one of my favorite players ever. He's like hard hat and lunch pail. That's what Stacey King used to say all the time. Obviously, he's bring a workman-like effort every single game, and yeah, it's a great player. You know what I mean? Like somebody who people didn't think would thrive. That's why I hate they talk about players' age now. Like you kind of would want a more mature prospect, in my opinion, unless they're just crazy talented. You're still gonna have those aches and pains, but Taj Gibson came to the league. I think he's like 34. That's why it's still dope. They're still playing now. That was or 24. I think 23, 24. It's crazy. They still in the league and like he's still good enough to be on rotation or like on a roster. You know what I mean? Like it's not like he's a rotation guy or whatever, but like he's still good enough and practices still in shape and still ready to play basketball when called upon enough to be on a roster. Like, that's very impressive. You just think about how the game has changed. But like I think there's a couple years here and there where he tried to shoot threes, but besides that, he stuck to his game. Like he's really stuck to his entire game. Been solid on defense forever. Like that's been a calling card. Was his calling card, and it's still in the league. That's incredible. 1,000 games played is not. That's no easy feat. You know what I mean? That's impressive. That's impressive. And, yeah, just hats off to him. That's dope. That's dope. So maybe there was a reason to watch this game. I'm not mad at it now. Raptors Hornets. They're showcasing the Raptor right now, their mascot. I don't know what's going on. Maybe I should turn it up. Let's see. Oh, 31 years in Toronto or something. Is it his birthday? It's his birthday kid. That's his birthday. Hornets up 16-13, as Eric Collins was about to say. It was one of the best announcers in the business, but turn it down. Actually, they might be talking about Taj. Yeah, hold on. That's a wild list. Because you only associate Marv as a Hornet. You don't associate any of the other guys as Hornets. But Dwight's on that list, where he played his 1,000th game as a Hornet. Eddie Johnson is on that list. That's crazy. You don't associate any of those guys with being Hornets. That's a funny list. Wow, that's crazy. I think I remember that game actually. That sounds crazy, but and I watch every Bulls game, so pretty sure I watched that. AJ Lawson, another guy right here, coming off a screen, hitting the three. He's some. I mean, Toronto's been auditioning guys for months now. You know, they've been. You can say injuries, but let's get to them for a second. Let's talk about the Raptors. Let's talk about what the Raptors might be able to do. Well, they get Cooper Flag. You got him, Scotty Barnes, RJ Barrett. That's something. That'd be a cool fit too. I think him in Toronto would be cool, but I digress. Anyways, even get Dylan Harper, anybody really. Like the Raptors could be another team in that range. I think there's a chance for at least the top two guys, in my opinion, to help change one of these franchises quick. Like, and a healthy Raptors team already was in a play-in race because of the 10 spot. Like they weren't that far off even a couple weeks ago, or like a week ago. And they've been decimated with injuries or tanking or whatever you want to call it. But they haven't been playing guys, and guys been hurt the whole year for them. This is working out. Oh, good for Jalen Sims, who's on the finish. I just found out who he was yesterday. I was like, I've never seen him before ever in life. And I pay attention. You see the channel. Like I do highlights of everybody. And obviously, he's a guy on I think a 10 day. He's a rookie, but it might be on a 2 way or a 10 day. I have no idea at this point. I try to stop. Like I said, I try to stop checking, but I don't double check. I'll like if I hear it, okay, cool. Cole Swider, another guy. He's started with the Lakers and then went to the Heat. Now with the Raptors. Um, he's trying to get an NBA spot, long term spot. And these dudes trying to, you gotta respect it. Like this is a cool G League season's over. Like they gotta make an impression at least to get an E10 2 way. You got Summer League coming up. Like you want to stay with the same franchise, and it would look good for like a Swider to come off. I just finished the season with you guys. I'm not playing for a random ass Summer League team. Oh damn, Todd. Um, and I'm trying to, stay at this organization. This is a guy who's earned a spot too. Who just missed Jamison Battle out of Ohio State. It's a lefty slasher. I mean, not slasher, 3 point shooter. Solid player. Yeah, really solid player. And he's a guy. Once again, I didn't really watch him at Ohio State last year, so I didn't know who he was until he signed a 2 way deal, and he's been decent this year. And Wendell Moore out of Duke. He was a late first rounder a couple years ago by Timberwolves. He's on like his third team. I think it was with the Pistons last year. Um, trying to make the Hornets. They're trying to get a long term spot there. That was a battle. That's a good pass. Good cut. Yeah, Battle's been nice. He's been pretty solid. He's been taking advantage of his opportunities. Um, looks like a lot of their regulars are playing though. Looks like Scotty Barnes and RJ and Emmanuel quickly about to check in. Um, Solid game. Damian Ball right there out of TCU just made that errant pass. Is another guy. I think he's on a 2 way. I don't know for sure. They might have an injury hardship exception too. I'm guessing just because like I said, I named the season-ending injuries to Grant Williams ACL, Trey Mann with his back. I don't know what's going on there. I hope he gets back soon because huge fan of Trey Mann, and then obviously LaMelo. Um, yeah, these teams are in the same boat. Let's put it like that. But the Hornets are way closer. They're way closer. If they can get everybody back healthy, they are way closer than the Raptors, in my opinion. The Raptors aren't bad though, because their top three guys are decent. I just don't know what type of team they can actually be. Like I know that sounds crazy, but like they're just very beatable every single night. Like you have these three, Pirtle, and then whoever else. Like, but that's where the internal growth comes from, and that's where the draft picks and everything comes from. They did decent in the draft too. You got Jacoby Walter out of Baylor. He's been solid. He's a couple guys people haven't talked about. Bub Carrington's one. Um, Jacoby Walter, he's played a lot. He's getting a lot of experience. 6'5" guy. Really more of a shooter right now, but he has some other stuff to his game. As a scorer, I just think a lot of these teams they end up in these situations where they end up being like mid to late lottery teams because of the play-in, and they built their teams specifically like in a weird way. They're further from a title from when they won a title, even if they have three good guys. Because it's like if this team can't win a title, then they're a play-in team or a low-seeded playoff team anyway, like six at best. And six at best is Detroit this year, and they've been great. You got to think about how these teams are. The fifth best team in the conference is a generational superstar and Giannis. Like that's the fifth best team in the conference. Like the East has gotten better. Like you need to have either multiple All Stars or a generational type of guy. Like so, the years where you decide not to tank or you try to go after this stupid 10th spot in the play-in, like you got to really weigh it heavily because how else are you going to try and win that ultimate goal, which is a title? Like you can be a cool little playoff team. Like that's fine. That's good for the young players' experience, but like that can set you back. Look at Orlando's great because they have two guys who are all stars. Like they were just hurt this year, so they're fine. Like you see the example with that. That's a perfect example where like they hit in the draft. They have two guys like, and they building their team specifically through that. The Raptors, like you're going the acquisition phase where like obviously you drafted Scotty, but then you get RJ and Quick. If they're not stopgaps, then what you have to add an all-star because Scotty's an all-star. Like he's multi-time all-star at this point. You have to add another guy who's at that level. I think if you're gonna round that lineup, either at shooting guard or at center, or like an interchangeable forward where Scotty can play the four and just get like a really good three. RJ at the two. Like you have to get that person. If that guy's flagged through the draft, obviously, or a player like that, then that's cool. But if you can't think about your team more long term, you're gonna be stuck. You're gonna be completely stuck. You got Ingram, obviously, like that was a swing, and that was a good swing because you basically traded a guy in Bruce Brown as a role player for a guy who has been an all star. So if they get a center, actually, with Ingram, Jamal Shedd's been good this year. They have a chance. Yeah, look, let me give them some more credit. Maybe I'm too a little too harsh on the Raptors. I'm thinking I forgot all about Ingram to this show. I'm not gonna lie. I literally forgot all about him until they just showed him just now. He is in this team. Okay, so if these pieces fall into place, they get a good draft pick or a big man. I think they should just trade Pirtle just because. I mean, I don't think he's the guy. Like I said, they can be a playing team if they keep Pirtle and if Ingram. That's solid. I mean, whatever. But I feel like this team wants to get right back to title contention kind of soon. So they got to figure that out. All right, let's get back to this game. Um, like I said, this game doesn't really mean much. Hold on, let me see if it's in the reverse rankings for Tankathon rankings. I love this site. Tankathon is a great site. Um, no, the Raptors are stuck at seven best odds. I mean, I don't think they're gonna. They're three ahead of San Antonio, and then three behind Brooklyn. They're not gonna. That's not gonna happen. All these teams are trying to lose. Charlotte could catch Washington, I guess, if they keep losing, but they're stuck between the Pelicans and the Wizards. For the most part, I would say their odds are set at number three. Yeah, the Hornets are going to be have the third best odds to get number one pick. But let's not go on another tangent about other teams right now. Just watch this game or look what else is on. 'Cause, man, it's, obviously the Bulls game's a blackout. I would be watching that. Blazers Jazz, man, these games are. I apologize. The selection is awful. A lot of games on today. Later, you got the Nuggets and the Kings. Does that game matter? It does. It does. And then it's the first game with no Mike Malone as coach. It's a whole other thing. But yeah, let me get back to this game real quick. Just do a little bit of this. Got Cole Swider on the wing, getting hounded by Wendell Moore. Tries to horrible entry pass the middle. Wendell Moore in transition. Euro. Jalen Sims. Aaron. And a good putback by Daquan Jeffries. He's a guy who's bounced around a lot. Sacramento, New York, a few other places, but he's played well with Charlotte second half of the season. Jonathan Mobo missed the three. He's a rookie out of was it San Francisco? I don't know, but he's a rookie, second round guy. He's had some moments this year. Yusuf Nurkic. This is a good spot for Nurkic to kind of reclaim his. He's still a decent NBA player, or serviceable, or whatever you want to call it. I mean, I'm not gonna say there's too much pressure in Phoenix, especially for a vet. Like, there's definitely not too much pressure, but he played terribly. Like, let's be real, he did not play well. So it's a good spot where he's a backup. He's basically a backup now, anyway. Wow. Wendell Moore with the air ball, tough. Side. He made some nice plays earlier. But yeah, back to Nurkic. It's a good spot for him to reclaim some confidence, really. Yeah, this entire lineup for the wow, tough floater by Jonathan Mobo off the glass. I don't know if he's trying to do that, but it worked. Yeah, the entire lineup for the Raptors right now, all undrafted guys except Jonathan Mobo, who was a second round pick last year. But AJ Lawson's undrafted, Jameson Battle's undrafted. Orlando Robinson's undrafted. All these guys. Cole Swider, he might have been. I think he's undrafted. Good save by Lawson. You got Mogbo. Bring the ball up. All that space. That hot pass. Trying to hit the corner. Gets it back for three. Miss it. Jameson Battle. Obvious over the back call. This game mercifully goes to timeout. Yeah, I think I'm going to switch or something, because maybe just talk about these teams instead of watch them play. This is kind of. Let's go to the Celtics. Yeah, let's hit the Celtics. Oh, that's at halftime. So yeah, regardless, let's go to the Celtics and the Magic. I think the Celtics are resting everybody though. That's why I didn't go to this game in the beginning. But either way, let's check out the Celtics. Celtics and the Magic. I don't know if the Magic need this game though after beating the Hawks. I think they're straight in the play-in race. I think they clinched 7. And I mean, they're a playoff team. It would be a shame if they didn't make it. They're going to make it. I mean, I can't see a scenario where they lose both of those playing games. The Hawks can catch them. They're just a random team. They can catch you. I mean, they're the same thing every year, regardless of the team. They're a low seed. They're heading in the right direction right now. They have to figure out what to do with Trae Young. I mean, he's been criminally underrated for a long time. I think if you don't build that team better around him the next year or two, I mean, Reese Shea, I thought that was a good pick. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't in hindsight. I mean, in hindsight, I do. I didn't really know too much about him going into the draft last year. Everybody was talking about Sarr. He ended up being the guy. They both looked pretty solid, especially towards the end of the year. Jalen Johnson, big fan of. He had a great year before he got hurt. Dyson Daniels is having an amazing year. Great pickup for when they traded Dejounte Murray. Um, so they're building the right direction. Obviously, huge Onyeka Okongwu fan, USC, and he's been a lot better as a starter, which I feel like they should have made that move to him last year. But he's getting used to being a starter in place of Clint Capella. But I don't know what their ceiling is really with that lineup. I really like that lineup, but I think that lineup's on a longer timeline than not to say Trey, because Trey's not old, but like you want Trey to play in some meaningful games where he doesn't request a trade and want to get out of there. Or if the franchise is like, oh, we can't build around you, like blah blah. I don't think that should be the case. I think he's good enough where you can, but he needs a real number two, like or not real number two. 'Cause I think Jalen Johnson has a chance to be that, but you need a lot more from a philosophical standpoint. Where like, are you a defensive team? Like with Trey, you have Dyson, so he can be on the best guy. How's the rest of that lineup look in terms of your defense? Like, do you have enough guys who can get stops? Um, I don't know. Like, I don't know what type of team that ultimately can be. Like, they've always had a defensive problem, even in this whole Trey era. Like in a weird way, because you have guys that fit defensive profiles in the past with DeAndre Hunter and players like that, but they've always had struggles defensively with Trey as the best player, like for whatever reason or the other. Like it's not like it's his fault, but like can they successfully build a team around him that is built to succeed defensively, or can like consistently get stops? Because I think the offense is always going to be good. Like you see these teams, like you see the lineup now, like it's. I think that's why they started Muhammad Gay like at power forward instead of. They're doing that for a long time instead of George Niang. After Jalen Johnson got hurt, they got to try that because he's going to help elevate the defense in that starting five. With him and Okongwu and Dyson Daniels, that's three very good defensive pieces right there. And then you have obviously Risa Shea, who's long and getting better on the defensive end. Not there yet, but they're trying. You see, Quinn Snyder is trying, and he's maximizing the pieces that he has. He's done a great coaching job down the stretch. Him and Billy Donovan, I would say, both of them have done pretty well. After the All-Star break, they've done a pretty good job to secure those playing spots. But yeah, you see the lineup out there for the Celtics. Like obviously, none of the regulars are out there except Pritchard. None of the stars are out there. Let's put it like that. But this type of lineup right here, we can look at them and see the growth of these players last year and this year as to why they could repeat again this year. You obviously have Peyton Pritchard, who last year showed he was huge, huge, huge for them off the bench in terms of scoring standpoint, as being tough and getting rebounds and everything. Like he's a really good player. I've been a fan since Oregon. In the defunct Pac-12, I used to watch Pritchard a lot, so knew he was this good. I knew he was a crazy scorer. Just wasn't sure if he was gonna get the chance to show it, and he's been able to show it on a championship level, which is amazing. But he's probably going to 6 man of the year, if not Malik Beasley. Damn, camera got it. But I think him, Hauser, Cornette, even Keita, these guys have gotten so much more comfortable in their limited minutes. I think Boston's still gonna be really hard to beat. I mean, East or otherwise, like Boston gets to the finals even, or gets to the finals again. This team, like, you can't sit there and tell me they still don't have the best team. Like, in terms of the mixture of star power and role players, like, it was a matter if Pritchard doesn't score, okay, how else is he gonna get these points, subsidiary points off the bench? But fully healthy, you can't even start Al Horford. Al Horford's huge for them. Like, it's crazy. You can't even start Al Horford fully healthy. Like, they can't. Like, it's obviously Brown, Tatum, D White, Drew Holiday, and Porzingis. Like, what are you gonna do with it? You have to start, and then you have Horford, Hauser, Pritchard, Cornette, four guys off the bench who can contribute, and they've sneakily gotten more depth with obviously the rookie Baylor Shireman's played great. Torrey Craig, you got a couple more guys to throw out there. Keita, they don't even play X Tillman no more, but it hasn't really mattered for them this year. They still have enough players where they can they can get it done. Like they're a lot deeper than this year. They even played Drew Peterson. Like he's getting some minutes sometimes. Like probably not in the playoffs, but Missoula's been empowering a lot of these guys this year. A good block by Kata. Look, I mean, that's why I'm like Boston's still the team to beat to me. I know everybody wants to have another team, and I like OKC a lot too. A good move, Hauser. Drop off three by Hauser. Look at that behind the back pulling up for three. Like this isn't a fluke. After you win a title, things are different too. Like they were already contenders playing with this confidence, contender energy. But the way Pritchard and Hauser have been playing these games, especially when they don't have Brown or Tatum or somebody's out, they've been killing. Like I mean, Pritchard had like it's a 40-point game off the bench, something crazy off the bench this year. Hauser had some big games like Franz Wagner. Dang, his shot that went in, but his shot is has gotten weirder by the year. That hitches. It's kind of crazy. Peyton Pritchard running the traffic or running the offense, directing traffic. Celtics down 11. Looks like that was a good pass by Shireman off the roll. Wow. Oop pass to Luke Cornett. That was dope. See Paolo Banchero bringing the ball up, which is pretty customary with obviously Jalen Suggs being out now. It's him and Franz. They've been doing that anyway, but even more so now. I would just say start Anthony Black, but that's too obvious, right? What a move! That was a tough move by Paolo. That was tough. Yeah, Paolo's cold. I'm gonna be excited to see him in the playoffs. Like, I really want to see another playoff run. I mean, not run because I think they're gonna lose. I think they're gonna lose in the first round to Boston. This is gonna be the matchup if they win their first playing game. They're trying to throw another lob to Cornette. That's hilarious. Not that. They trying to throw Cornette a one-handed lob. Damn, pressure. That's funny. Franz Wagner driving the kick. Wendell Carter from the corner. No. You got the veteran, the widely vet, Corey Joseph, been starting lately. He's probably gonna be the playoff starter. Oh, Sharman with the board. Sharman's been a guy. I think he might deserve some highlights. Who knows? I mean, look. Wow. Wow. That was tough. I mean, you just see how good Paolo and Franz are on those two plays. I mean, similar spin moves around defenders. Like Paolo's was in the midst of traffic too, and this was too obviously with Kata being right there. But they got two stars. You know what I mean? Like star power would take you far. Um, I don't think they have enough pieces with the guys that have injured to upset the Celtics. But 6-game series, I mean, I think that can happen. I think Franz and Paolo win you one game for sure. Like legit one game in Orlando. Maybe game three. I think they win that game if this series happens. They can probably win another. I think that'd be tough though, just because of they do have offensive slumps, and Celtics know obviously haven't gone through it for years before becoming champions. They know the importance of rest and ending series early. I think that could be a fun 5 to 6 game series, like maybe a gentleman's sweep, but that could be a really fun showcase for both of those dudes. Like, oh, we both our guys are basically all stars. We have, Suggs out as our point guard. We have Mo Wagner, who was playing great off the bench. He's out. Before these dudes got hurt, you got to remember, and before both of them got hurt, this is the reason why neither one of them made the All-Star team. This team was very good. Like, I think they were in third spot or something. Like, they were really killing it. Jamal Mosley kept them afloat for, like a month after that, after Paolo and Franz got hurt, which was pretty early. But they just fell off, which if they had fallen off in the beginning, I would have been like, oh, okay. Like you can't say nothing regardless, but the fact that he kept them alive is the reason why they're still even in the playoff race because they could have fallen off instantly. But they kept winning games, but guys just gradually kept getting hurt. And Suggs, by the time Suggs had his season-ending injury and just had the first injury and then the second one, he had a few this year. By the time he had that first injury, Orlando was already on the downslide. But luckily, it's the East, and luckily, you're still in it. And that is one saving grace of playoffs. But if we're being honest, they have the record to be in it anyway. Like Paolo and Franz still came back in enough time to they would have made the playoffs anyway. So they didn't need the play in, but that's why I'm like, I really hope they don't lose these two playing games. I don't think they will. Like I said, these two dudes can, especially versus the playing teams. You got the Hawks, us, and Miami. Like these are two of the best players out of all those four teams by far. I mean, this guy and Trey Young, like these are the two of the top three players. Oh no, you got Bam. Yeah, I would say Franz and Paolo are better than having better seasons than Hero, and Hero's having a good season. And Bam's been killing it. Oh no, that's tough. I'm not doing that. But yeah, Orlando can have a fun playoff series versus the Celtics. I don't think they have a chance in hell to beat them, but if they get that 7th seed, they can will themselves to 2 games for sure. Gary Harris in the corner, another vet, man. 2014 draft, Gary Harris of Michigan State. Before it was possible to track where players came from. Now it's that transfer portal is crazier than free agency, and it seems like it's endless. That was a good probe and layup by Pritchard. Tried to reverse, didn't go in. The importance of vets. You see Corey Joseph out there, Gary Harris. Like that's a lot of experience in that backcourt right now for Jamal Mosley. Who was 44 on the Celtics? Is that Miles Norris? Man, it's crazy. Two-way guy. Good catch and finish on the triple by Caleb Houston, Michigan guy. Wow. Caleb Houston, somebody who, in the midst of these injuries, is starting to play a lot more. He's a classic 3 and D guy. That's his mo. Like he shoots threes mainly from the corner, and he's a decent defender. But the vet KCP is a huge pickup this year. They were, like I said, they were off to the races in the beginning of the season, but they have to wait till next year. You know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with that, but you do lose a year of potential, I guess. Which I mean, it happens. I don't know what this delay is, but it's enough for me to change games again. Let's check back in on. Oh, this is about to go to halftime. What about this? Same. Okay, third quarter, Philly and Washington. I know everybody's watching. Everybody's obviously watching the Lakers game with Luca making his return to Dallas, but I'm over here watching Philly and Washington for it's a little bit longer, and then I'm about to turn that game on too. Approaching halftime, so okay, yeah, let's stream for a little bit more. Adem Bona has the ball. This last play, trying to dunk on Keyshawn George, and Keyshawn took the charge. I think. Good play. A challenge? Come on, man! I can't switch to the game. That's a challenge. Come on. Now I gotta switch again. There's nothing to switch to though. Maybe I should go to NBA TV. It's not, right. Let's see. Yeah, all these games are hitting halftime. Let me just keep it right here with Philly and Washington. It's perhaps the worst game of all these games, but it's all good. I'm gonna stream some more later, but hop off after a few more minutes in this game. Maybe I'll just go in the quarter. And yeah, I'm gonna switch this to watching this Luca game myself. 'Cause second half is gonna be crazy. I'm looking at the game right now. It's 52 to 49. Luca going back to Dallas or in Dallas for the first time since the shocking trade a couple months ago. As I'm watching this, Luca just shot. He missed. Yeah, she just set a few more blizzards up for grabs. She's doing some purpose now. You guys hear this, right? Blizzy giveaway. Oh, okay. All right. That's funny. Drew Gooden, former Bull, on the call for Washington. Only diehard fans and gambling addicts are tuned into this game right now. I'm not a fan of either, and I'm not a gambling addict, so I don't know why I'm watching this. It's the NBA fans, pure love of the game, watching this game over Luca and Dallas right now. Hmm. Tough shot by Alex Sarr. Almost made that. He's 3 of 11 tonight, apparently. But having the best game. Just kick. Yeah, I don't know how much I can take of this, but that's crazy. Did you just hear what the question was? It's interesting. So it basically said who's the primary offensive guy for Washington right now on the court. And you gotta look at it like, who is though? This is a fun game to play with some of these teams within the season. Like, who's the guy? I mean, for me, it has to be Sar, like easily, right? I mean, Drew Gooden said by committee. I mean, he's not having the best game right now, so maybe not Sar. You got the fellow rookie AJ Johnson, another guy they got via trade. Thought he was gonna be able to throw in with the Middleton trade. How ironic would it be if he turns out to be really good? Middleton was thought to be a throw in the Bucks trade, and AJ Johnson was, yeah, interesting. Bob Carrington, wow. The Wizards have the NBA record for the most threes made by rookies this season. Bub Carrington, Keyshawn George, and Alex Sarr played a big role in that. Wow, that's crazy. And they got a couple other rookies. AJ Johnson. I mean, they got some decent players. But yeah, number one guy in this on this lineup right now has to be Sarr. Bub Carrington's a close second, I think, and then Johnson is somewhere in there. Keyshawn George, pure shot right there. It's a pure shot from the elbow too. That's difficult. Look at the Sixers lineup though. No offense, you got Jared, but Quentin Grimes been killing this year. I don't know if he's trying to dunk it right there, but Jared Butler, Quentin Grimes, who showed a lot this year. He's gonna be a huge piece for them next year. Um, Dembona, the rookie, he's not on the floor right now, but out of UCLA, he's somebody who showed he could play in the league this year. Oh, he's on the floor. I'm tripping. Colin Castleton, he was on a couple other teams. 10-day guy. He's trying to make an impression, but Once again, just similar to that Raptors game, Raptors have a few of their guys playing, but a lot of guys like auditioning for spots for next year. Um, Summer league contracts, all that kind of stuff. So, but yeah, I'm gonna wrap up the stream right now. Appreciate everybody tuning in, especially on YouTube and Playback, obviously. But yeah, I'm gonna probably do another stream before the season's over. Do one more. Just talk about the league mainly because that's what I did anyway. Especially these games. It wasn't the best slate of games to go live for, but I just figured, why not? I don't really do it too often. So, um, yeah, appreciate everybody. Go check out that Ultimate Word Search book, Volume One. I made a word search book featuring all Hoopers, every single era. Um, Definitely want people to check it out. It's it's a great gift for anybody who's like diehard fan, casual fan, just because like it features players that definitely know. Like there's a lot of puzzles that like NBA 75. Um, you have a lot of NBA's like all stars by decades. You have 70s, 80s, 90s, just a bunch of different categories. We can just like search up last names and you know straightforward puzzles. So yeah, it's appreciate everybody check that out. It's just like a good ode to NBA history. I just want to do something like that to appreciate the game a little bit. Um, but yeah, until next time, I'm gonna have some more highlight videos coming out. Just latest video on the channel is Bronny, so go ahead and check that out. But yeah, got a lot more content coming, so stay tuned.